In the aftermath of the First World War, as the country began to think about what was meant by a, quote, return to normalcy, unquote, part of the agenda was to craft a more comprehensive social control form of immigration and deportation laws. And the laws that were developed in 1917 had both ideological components and criminal enforcement components. And in many ways that was the first comprehensive sort of modern type of deportation law that we saw. And it arose out of a lot of loyalty controversies that had taken place during the war. And it also confirmed the role of the federal government and the bureaucratized model of deportation enforcement. So it started focusing on criminal aliens as well as focusing on people who were ideologically deemed to be subject to deportation, anarchists and socialists in particular. Those things sort of developed parallel together during that period. And I think the underlying idea was that there are certain people who are just not worthy of being members of American society, and even if they have been admitted legally, we should get rid of them. A lot of the discourse as it develops in the 1920s around these sorts of laws focuses on an alleged crime problem that was largely undertaken by non-citizens. When you actually read more sober studies of the period, you might really question whether there was such a crime wave. And also you would notice that there were a lot of native-born American citizens who were engaged in criminal activities as well. But the public discourse began to shift, particularly with the rise of J. Edgar Hoover and the early FBI. The focus turned increasingly to deporting non-citizen criminal aliens, particularly those convicted of crimes involving moral turpitude, which was a category that was developed in those early laws, and also people with drug offenses. And so the mechanisms of deportation, the systems became increased, the funding became increased, the bureaucracy became much larger, and we started seeing more people being focused on. This continued into the 30s and the 1940s, and in many ways has continued to the present day.